Hi, 30 our viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. by 6 o'clock. It's time for the news in the English language. We thank you so much for joining us. Our major story tonight: total chaos in most cities in Gabon today as the military takes over power to overthrow the over 14-year reign of Ali Bongo Ondimba. In a televised address to the Gabonese, the military, among the members of the Presidential Guard, assured the compatriots of an imminent power change in the country. Gabonese, on their part, expressed joy and are seemingly collaborating with the military for a successful power change. They converged today that was at the Boulevard Triomphal, Omar Bongo carrying colors of their national flag. President Ali Bongo Ondimba, who is now under house arrest, plus his family, in another video pleads for the world to raise an alarm on what is happening in Gabon. All these are happening few hours after Ali Bongo Ondimba was reportedly re-elected for a third term in office. Viewers, that is our major lead story. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. There is news in Gabon. Recent information from that neighboring country indicates that the Bongo family, we told you in the headlines, remain under house arrest. Ali Bongo, his family, and also his personal medical doctors. The airspace of Gabon has been shut down, just like the borders with other neighboring countries. All these are happening, we told you, after Ali Bongo was re-elected for a third term as the president of Gabon. Now, anti-French sentiments continue, provoking political and military upheavals across Africa. Thus, the question, what's happening to the French hierarchy? A reporter, Babila Jonathan, puts this question to an attorney at law and major proponent of the decolonization, barrister Aneneba Innocent Akufu.
Make noise. For the people here have arrested me and my family.
The fall of Ali Bongo will end his family's 56-year grip on power in Gabon. Former colonial master France has condemned the latest events. This will be the 8th coup in former French colonies in Africa in the past 3 years.
Gabon has become the latest country in West Africa where the army has seized power, following Mali, Chad, Niger, Burkina Faso. And these are all former French colonies. Since 1990, 78%, which is about 27 of the coups d'etats that have been led in West Africa, have been from our French colonies. And it begs the question, is the French legacy in Africa waning, or is the French legacy in Africa responsible for some of these coups? Yes, that's a question that we can debate both ways. But to a fervent African, I think the French legacy in Africa is waning, and it is the sole responsibility, the cause for all these coups d'etats in West Africa.
What is described as a heritage of bad governance from France, exploitation and discrimination of the masses are some of the factors advanced as reasons for the growing anti-French sentiments across the African continent.
You cannot come to a little country like Gabon with vast, enormous oil riches and resources, manganese and all the cocoa and everything that they have, with a population of just about 2.5 million people, but these people live in abject poverty because you support one single family for almost 60 years.
Meantime, France continues fighting hard to maintain its presence in Africa. Her ambassador to Niger Republic has refused to obey a 48-hour ultimatum to leave the country from the military leaders.
And now, what can be the causes of military coup d'etat in former French colonies in Africa? A reporter for me, Armstrong Sanders, spoke with a political analyst who tells us more about both the immediate and remote causes of military coup d'etat in Africa.
Political analyst Adji Kabi Romaric says the situation in Gabon has remote and immediate causes. On his list of remote causes, Adji Kabi Romaric outlines the unvarying Bongo leadership, the 56-year-old Bongo reign in Gabon.
Well, the youths of Gabon were thirsty for change. They want a new name. They want a new face. His father, Omar Bongo, has been president for almost 40 years, and he passed the baton to his son, Ali Bongo, that have ruled for more than 20 years. Despite his health condition, which is deteriorating, He decided to go in again for the election that just passed. All what we witness is that his main opposition leader, Professor Ondo Osa, of course, challenged him in the election. But because it is a tradition of most African presidents in French-speaking countries to always change results to suit their political ambition or to stay in power.
On the more external immediate causes, the analyst says the military takeover in Gabon is not unconnected to the events in Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger.
Wind of change blowing through West Africa, and it has now come to Central Africa, the CEMAC zone. And so it was not surprising to me. I knew that the wind would blow and come.
It remains difficult to make a direct link between the coup in Gabon, the event, and recent military takeovers in West Africa. While the public demonstration in the streets of Libreville and elsewhere in Gabon carried nothing similar to diplomatic rapprochement messages displayed in similar cases in West African nations, analysts say that power has not fully left the Bongos. The coup leader Brice Clotaire Oligangema is a cousin to Bongo. He was the commander-in-chief of the Gabonese Republican Guard.
And now the president-elect of Gabon, Ali Bongo Ondimba, in a viral video calls on the world to raise an alarm about what is happening in his country. Let's now listen to Ali Bongo Ondimba in this viral video.
I'm Ali Bongo Ondimba, president of Gabon, and I'm to send a message to all the friends that we have all over the world to tell them to make noise, for the people here have arrested me and my family.
Ali Bongo says, speaking exclusively in the English language, he was addressing the world to raise an alarm about what is happening in Gabon. Sure, we'll be coming back to what is happening in Gabon, the military coup d'etat. That would be in the second part of the news. And now let's talk something else. Several shops have been destroyed today in the Bonewonda neighborhood in the Douala 1 subdivision. The victims point an accusing finger to the city council, who, according to them, demolished their shops in favor of a hotel to be constructed in that area. Let's now listen to what they have to say with our reporter, Luciliengo Isie.
More than 5 shops destroyed in a twinkle of an eye. This is the effect of a demolition exercise carried out by workers of the Douala City Council for the expansion of a road. The operation in the Bonewonda neighborhood has been termed injustice by the victims. She says they have been occupying the land for more than 35 years. We equally approached the owner of the compound, who on a wheelchair feel frustrated. He expressed dissatisfaction on the demolition exercise. The victims add that their problems began the day a hotel was constructed in the neighborhood. Since then, they have had no peace. We met their family lawyer, who also confirms that Chouam Evariste has full rights over the land, and the owner of the hotel proposed a sum of 10 million francs CFA as compensation so they can grant him permission for their shops to be destroyed. But the offer was rejected. We expected him to follow the normal procedures, which is going through the family, cause it's a private land and not a public land. Surprisingly, they received a notice from the city council asking them to evacuate the area before Thursday 31st of August 2023, while those whose shops were destroyed complain of losing millions of francs CFA. To better understand the situation, we had on phone the communication officer of the Douala City Council, who told us that the destruction is basically for the expansion of the road which leads to the neighborhood.
And now we take you to the nation's political capital, where a group of visually impaired persons in Yaoundé who have been demanding for employment complain they have been enduring police brutality at the Prime Minister's office. One of them told our reporters that he is now without his white cane, which helped him to walk across the city. Let's now have more with Innocent Aze.
These visually impaired Cameroonians say they are victims of police brutality at the Prime Minister's office, where they went for talks with the head of government. The police carried us like garbage and threw in a bush. We struggled to find our way back. We decided to return to the Prime Minister's office the next day, and the police did the same thing. While abandoned at the north entry into Yaoundé, a white cane belonging to one of them got destroyed. They brutalized me at the point that my white cane, which is my sole guide, was completely broken. I don't know how I will be able to walk. These visually impaired persons say they went to the Prime Minister's office to seek employment. We have been asking the Prime Minister to employ us since 2018. Since then, nothing has been done. There are laws enacted in 2010 favoring promotion of persons with visual impairment.
On dit qu'en qualification égale, la priorité revient à l'handicapé.
In terms of qualification, they are in possession of academic and professional diplomas.
Mon dernier diplôme, c'est le master professionnel en ingénierie juridique des entreprises et des arbitrages.
Je suis titulaire d'une maîtrise en droit des affaires et des entreprises. Titulaire d'un master professionnel en ingénierie juridique des collectivités territoriales décentralisées.
These visually impaired Cameroonians seek just one thing: consideration and protection, just like any other Cameroonian.
And now we talk back to school less than 4 days to the start of the academic year 2023-2024. The government primary school, Fuchuli, in the Menua division of the West region, is still in a very dilapidated state. The few benches found in that school are said to be broken, with the classrooms void of doors and also windows. The residents of Fuchuli are sending distress calls to the government. Immaculate Fogwe completes the story for us.
This classroom, transformed into a greenery, is expected to host pupils of Government Primary School Fuchuli come September 4th. The state of the school, located in the Menua division of the West region of Cameroon, leaves much to be desired. Apart from the benches and blackboard, nothing about the structure resembles a classroom. Since its creation in the 1960s, learning here is largely dependent on the season of the year. This is because the classrooms have no doors nor windows. The dilapidated state of the roof is making the learning and teaching process extremely difficult, especially when it rains. We have struggled as a village to help the school by providing water and electricity, but now we are exhausted. The only thing the government did for us is to sign a document ordering the creation of the school. The nursery section, which was created in 2019, is at the verge of being closed. We transformed someone's private residence into a classroom. Now he's on retirement and is asking that the building be given back to him. This obviously means it will be a blank academic year for nursery school kids. Apart from the dilapidated structures, the state of the road linking several neighborhoods is deplorable. It is on this poorly constructed bridge that pupils have to cross over daily in order to have access to their classrooms. Fuchuli, found in the Menua Division, West region of Cameroon, is in dire need of a new facelift.
And while most schools are busy preparing for back to school, some educational establishments in Mayamen is a locality in the Nguti subdivision of the Southwest region, are still closed and engulfed by grass. School children in the locality have deserted the area as well. Let's now have more with Mala Glory.
The last lesson in this classroom dates back as July 2021, few years after the Anglophone crisis started in the northwest and southwest regions. Most schools in Mayamen village have been abandoned in the bush. Children dropped out. The locality, situated between Komba and Mamfe in the southwest region, has greatly been affected by the socio-political crisis in Cameroon.
The king will be 7 years.
You cannot imagine a 7-year-old child telling you he is still in primary 1. That's because they have not been going to school. Fear has been the major cause of this, because gunshots became very common in this area. Imagine an old woman like me, I could not run because of my health too.
Sometimes with the hear gunshot, the po started.
And for now,
grammar school has been closed as students all ran out to neighboring villages to study.
Go outside.
Few days to back to school, elites of Mayemen village believe that for an effective school resumption to take place, they must sensitize the youth of this locality, and this can only be through a football encounter.
Really realize that football may count to be what it's supposed to be. But at first, things were not going the way they are now. And as long as this tournament started, every place became live. And it seemed the disturbance or the odds we had all went away.
The football jamboree organized in this area ended with Palm City of Talanga emerging winner. Despite encouragement from these elites for school children to go back to school, GNS, GPS and Grammar School Mayemen are yet to open their doors come September.
And viewers, that does it for the first part. The news talking points comes up next. Welcome back. Our guest tonight is Dr. Ntimancho Michael. Doctor, thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. We are coming back to what is happening in Gabon, the military coup d'etat. We already know that the Bongo family, that is Ali Bongo, the president-elect, the family, and also the doctors are under house arrest as we speak. That house arrest took place earlier today, and the land and airspaces in Gabon have been locked down. Doctor, thank you once again for accepting to talk to us. What is your appreciation or analysis of these recent happenings in Gabon?
That is a reign that has overdue, and having ruled the country for 53 years, we should not pretend to think that the Gabonese, they love the Mogos family for having ruled for 53 years. It is simply because the Bongos family ruled Gabon with iron-fisted hands. You know, the Gabonese, have borne so much for so long a time. It is a reign of dictatorship. We are talking about a country that an average citizen lives almost $50 a day. That is a country that life is extremely expensive. And you know, so there are these internal factors, because sometimes we look at inward-looking factors and we look at outward-looking factors when it comes to military coup d'etat. But I would think that for the most part of it, they are the inward-looking factors that have caused the coup d'etat in Gabon. Inward-looking factors, comprises issues such as poverty, insecurity, and there's a lot of suffering, unemployment that is very, very rife in Gabon. And you see, change is something that you can never ever stop. Change is something that is continuous, that is supposed to be constant. And it is a long-sounding, lesson for everybody who thinks that you can live for such a long time, you can live forever in ruling people.
And now, Doctor, from what the images we get from Gabon, the local population seems to be collaborating perfectly with the military. We saw the military calling on the local people to be very pacific in their manifestation. How can we explain that collaboration, very fluid between the military and the local population of Gabon?
What I'm saying here is that sometimes people will think that you can be guarded by those who are close to you, whom you think you can, mismanage a country, let the economy even fall, and then the people, go into untold suffering because you are protected. Remember, Abel Ondo Asa told Ali Bongo, I know you are protected by the presidential guards, I know you are protected by the military, but let me tell you, this very military is not going to protect you. You are going to release him. It just was prophetic, and within days, power has left Ali Bongo. So I think it is something that was expected. Everybody expected this to happen. Because you don't imagine that in a country of over 2-3 million people get to the fore, and then a single family rules that country for close to 60 years. And everybody is complaining day in, day out. People are complaining. We even reached at a stage where we thought the president is near incapacitation and he had to resign. But it appears as if nobody was living in Gabon any longer. And this is something that we expected, even in all of Africa, the whole of Africa, that no matter how long you get in power, know that it is going to have an end someday. And sometimes it comes at the time that you do not expect. And as we say, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you get in, you think you are going to receive power so soon. But you see that the power switches, and you want to get on and on and on. But the people are suffering. And there comes a town like Rosa Parks in the United States of America in the 1960s who says, we have borne so much for so long a time, and now we can no more bear. Okay. It is time for a change.
Thank you, Dr. But you might have to expatiate more on the reasons why the people seem to be so happy and collaborating so fluidly with the military. We saw them marching to the Boulevard Triomphal, Omabongo, with peace plans, and also the colors of their national flag with the military, trying to ensure that their manifestation is pacific. How can we explain that?
It is simple. The explanation is simple, and that the population have gone through untold suffering, and they have tried to get change through the ballot, and the change has not come. You know, when you are drowning, you can hang on a snake. They are not happy because it is a military which has taken power. Let people be very clear about it. They are happy because at least somebody has nursed power to change someone who thought he was a demigod. I think that is the celebration about it all. They are happy for the fact that no one is eternal. They are happy for the fact that nothing lasts forever. They are happy for the fact that, someone who thought he is above the world, he is above the whole of the Gabonese, has been thrown. And that is jubilation. And I think that the whole world should jubilate that you should not think you are the only competent person who can rule a whole country. And I think that this is where the jubilation is coming from. And as I talked about the inward-looking factors of a coup d'etat, the inward-looking factors of coup d'etat are what? The economic hardships of the people, unemployment, insecurity. The people were living and partly living. But then they needed a savior. They needed somebody to salvage them from these issues. And they thought election could be something that would salvage them. But you remember, they have gone through elections, and election doesn't seem, democracy doesn't seem to be a panacea for their suffering. And therefore, somebody has come from somewhere, a savior has come somewhere, and whatever name you call this savior, all what the Gabonese want at this very moment is change. Change is important, even for the sake of it. It is after this change now they will begin to, trace their way forward to see what this change means for them. But the most important thing is that they are happy that there is this change. They are happy that they have people who can be able to, who could rise up when they even thought that the Gabonese were all zombies and that nobody could rise up against the power in place to be able to take up power, because the power was being guarded by the immediate family of the of our thrown president, and everybody was afraid. The general feeling was that of fear. And somebody has nursed that power to come up, to liberate them. I want to call this liberation. Because one of the liberation is not only physical, it's psychological. Where you sit and think that, you have a president, if the family has ruled for close to 60 years, it means that they are all powerful. This is the highest dictatorship that we should have. That somebody should live and a family rule a country, whole country for 60 years. This creates, in itself fear. And to get somebody to come at this particular moment to dissipate that fear and to give more hope. That disappeared, that disillusionment that Gabonese have, and now there is more hope to the Gabonese, and especially to the youth, whose zeal, whose zest is to see a prosperous Gabon. What else do you expect? They have to shout, they have to go to the street and sing hallelujah for the fact that there is a new dawn.
Okay. And now, Dr. Nzimanto, can we liken what is happening now in some countries of the Central African sub-region? We're talking about Niger, Burkina Faso, and all of those. Can we compare it to what happened in the Arab world some years back, that is the Arab Spring? Can we say a wind of change is blowing through the Central African sub-region?
Yes, this is compared to the wind of change of the 1990s. You know, the wind of change in the 1990s came at a point where no dictator wanted it to be. You know, at that point where there were 6 tight presidents, and that time there was re-dictatorship in the rename of it, whereby there were no multipartism. I mean, it was, one party system where somebody could rule and on and on and on. Now we came to the 20th century, where we have experienced what we call, as you said, the Arab Spring. But in as much as I actually laud and accept and I congratulate what we call the Arab Spring, I also want to let the Africans make meaning out of this spring, what we call the spring. What has become of Egypt? What has become of Tunisia after all this uprising and overthrowing of president? Yes, it is a new dawn, but let us be able to make it meaningful. Not only the Arab Spring, we are looking at the West Africa with Mali, with Niger, with Burkina Faso, with Guinea and all of those countries. No, you see, it is a new dawn, and as I said, sometimes change is important, even just for your own sake. And I think that it is the turn of Central Africa. I don't want to say who is next, because that is not the perspective. The perspective is that let someone who finds himself in the position of Omar Bongo begin to know that no matter what kind of security you have around you, know that that security may be broken. Sometimes the death of a dictator doesn't come from outside. The death or the downfall of a dictator comes immediately from his immediate security. And therefore, that's why in the world you can never have enough security in the world enough. So I think they are collaborating, the Arab Spring that came up. And I think that even though people may not actually see the meaningful economic change in the Maghreb with the Arab Spring, but I think that the youths have come out of their shells and they are able to express themselves. Now they know that their wishes, their aspirations, their zeal, their goals can be translated into meaningful change, and that is what happened. And this coming now from West Africa down to Central Africa, we are all welcoming, because we sometimes we cry and we have suppressed emotions, and now those emotions today have had some meaning, that somebody is coming up to tell us that it can be possible.
Thank you, Doug. I would have loved to find out from you as a political analyst if the video of President-elect Ali Bongo Ondimba actually sends out pity or the population, especially Gabonese, alike, and why not the world alike. It serves him right, because we already saw the Ali Bongo calling on the world to take note or raise an alarm of what is happening in Gabon. Anyway, we'll be coming back to that surely in our subsequent news editions. Thank you, Dr. Nzimanto Michael, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Viewers, we thank you so much for being with us. Don't go away. As usual, our programs continue. The news in the French language is at 8 p.m. Equinoxe Soir is at 7 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television.